Hello and welcome to It Came From Down Under, Episode 4, the only podcast dedicated to talking shit about Australian cinema. I am Blake, and I'm joined by...
Scott Campbell. And
Karagic.
There you go.
Oh wait, are we giving full names?
Yeah, I did use my middle name.
Okay,
Yeah.
So this is actually our 4th episode, coming over a year after the 2nd episode. So it's been a long time coming for this one. So
a lot of anticipation.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype. You know, like, do you remember when Thanos like killed half the universe and like he had to wait a whole year to find Spider-Man?
Yeah.
That's what this is. You know,
Yeah.
like 20 people listen to episode 2 and they're like, damn, I just want some more. It Came From Down Under, and then they're like, fuck, man, you gotta wait a whole year for this shit. But
this is the end game.
Yeah, this is Endgame. This is the Avengers Endgame of Australian podcasts about Australian film.
Bit of a niche,
yeah, but it is what it is. But we are just focusing on film now, and we also have Scott here, who wasn't here before. But
Yes.
So Scott, as the new member of this podcast, you got first pick on what film we covered.
Yes.
What did you choose and why?
Well, I picked Crocodile Dundee because that has to be like the most famous Australian movie easily. Like, you can't, there's not another movie that's Australian as Crocodile Dundee. Yeah.
And
so that's why I picked Crocodile Dundee. And plus I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I wanted to rewatch it.
Alright, swag. Leon, have you seen Crocodile Dundee before?
I actually haven't, honestly.
Yes.
I feel like it's one of those movies that I swear that like more people internationally have seen than actual like Aussies and Australians, it seemed like in my opinion. I don't know.
I get you. Like,
it's not as much of a big deal here as like, you know, as probably people from the States think it is.
Well, seeing that the movie's like mainly based in America as well.
Yeah,
like,
surprised me. Like, I didn't realize how much of the film was actually about.
Yeah, I thought it was like mainly all in Australia, and I thought the sequel was all in America, but no, this one's like primarily in America. It's weird.
I had the opposite impression because it's like the most I really seen from the movie are like the iconic scenes in the city where it's like, that's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I just assumed that like most of the movie was just going to be about this dude from the outback going to LA. But I was surprised at the outback scenes actually at the start.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by like the way the outback stuff was handled. Like they did seem like we'll get more into that later when we talk about like actual thoughts on the film. But I was surprised by the way that just the way like there was like such respect and reverence given to the outback. That was surprising. I thought it'd be Australians being like more monstrous or horrifying or just comedic. But yeah, so it's but like you, Leon, I was also a Crocodile Dundee virgin going into this, and so thank you, Scott, for getting me going there.
Yeah.
So on this watch, did you guys enjoy the film?
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was just really like just fun. Like it's really just harmless. Like, there are a few things in the movie that if it's in, you can't really say now because they're quite offensive. But
that's 80s comedies for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's very 80s and
so many comedies like you could make
fish out of water type of story. But I think it's just really wholesome.
Okay,
Yes,
interesting. I'm going to disagree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, your opinion's wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
I can just end it here and now just let Blake talk for the rest of the...
Sorry, what do you think of it? Sorry?
Oh no, like I kind of agree with Scott, honestly. Like, I feel like it was kind of a fun, wholesome movie, especially the ending where it's like, hooray! It's like, you know, the girl gets his true love, who's like a fish out of water, and you know, it's like she learns to understand his ways, and he understands to learn her ways, and it's like, hooray! But like overall, like, I felt like it was a good example of a classic 80s movie. Like, it has kind of like the similar sort of tropes as your like, you know, like police academies, naked guns and stuff, where it's just like, you know, or not, maybe not as fast paced humor, but it's definitely like, you know, quips and like, you know, like, oh, look at this dude, like look at this dude trying to make his way. You can't even walk down a fucking escalator. You know?
that was one of my favorite gags too. Just like it was like such a neat touch. Like this.
Yeah. I mean, there were like nice little subtle kind of gags like that. It wasn't too over the top like some other 80s
that's like my favorite part of the film was like those little subtle gags like that. It'd be like the elevator and, you know, like him not knowing where to put the ash from his cigarette in the hotel room and like that kind of stuff. Like the little like
like, and like how he just turns on the TV for a few seconds and like,
he goes, I've seen one of these before. That's what it did before.
Yeah, like, I think by far like my favorite jokes from the film like were the ones that just, like didn't draw so much attention to themselves. It was just like little side gags. Those were always nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I didn't personally enjoy the film as much as you guys did. It's coming with the hot takes. Crocodile Dundee and like good, eh? But I don't know, like the main relationship like sort of annoyed me. Like,
yeah, I have to agree with you there. Like, if there's one thing that I really just didn't like about it, it's the relationship.
It was the relationship, and the whole film is like really actually like built around that relationship. Like that's the central conflict.
Like, but it's weird because the whole film is based around it, but yet there's like barely anything to it, and it's just
and like she, Sue is like a terrible person. Like she's like at any point she could say Richard, she could go to Richard and say, no, I don't want to be with you, but no, instead she like says, okay, yes, I will marry you. But then like I don't know, man, like, okay, sorry guys, spoiler alert for a 40-year-old film. Yeah, so sorry if you haven't seen Crocodile Dundee. But Crocodile Dundee gets the girl. But like,
I kind of alluded to that anyways, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, sorry, everyone who hasn't seen Crocodile Dundee, but was still invested enough to listen to a
podcast. But it's also just so random that she ended up with him as well. This random dude from Australia that she just did a random report on because of a job, and like, was she just so like depressed with her own life that she had to do that to herself? Like, I wouldn't want to be with someone as crazy as Crocodile Dundee. Stuff that. Yeah.
And also, like, considering, like, you know, she comes from like a very wealthy family, like, you know, who like, and that her job like isn't making any money. Like she's allowed to go waste money on the company's credit card because her dad owns the business. So it's like it's fine for her to drop dozens of thousands of dollars to bring some strange hobo man from in the wilderness to the city. But yeah, like, I don't know, their whole relationship, like it's a whole central part of the film, but I didn't feel like the resolution was very earned. Like, that was my bad issue with the film.
Definitely.
It did feel very like, you know, they had to tie it up, and it's because it's like, I don't know, because 1 second she says, yes, I will marry you, Richard, and the next second she's just running for her life to catch.
Yeah, like even like when she like accepts his proposal at that dinner party, like she didn't look at Crocodile once. Like, she didn't just like have a single glance at him.
Yeah,
she seemed to be having the time of her life. Yeah, accepting that ring. Like, she was having the time of her life. Like. I just didn't buy the conflict as much because, like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, so she was a terrible person because, you know, she is in this kind of on-again, off-again relationship with this guy, and she's out here, you know, just kissing this dude in the wilderness, and then that's also, that is some journalistic conflict right there. That's conflict of interest. She's writing a story about this dude, and she's having a romantic relationship with him. That is
that's not all. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
If her dad didn't own the company, she'd be fired for that. Like, honestly, it's unprofessional.
That integrity is just thrown out the window there.
No journalistic integrity. That's 1 out of 5. But yeah, like, honestly, man, like, Richard didn't deserve it. Like, Richard.
But Richard was an asshole, man.
No, but like, was he really?
Yes, easily.
But
come on.
He was. But like, everyone was an asshole in this movie. Like.
Yeah,
Crocodile was an asshole too. Like, because
he's just a very horny person that can't tell when people want to fuck him. Like, there's about like 3 scenes in this movie where hookers come up to him, and he just doesn't understand what they are, what's going on. But throughout the whole movie, he's just a very horny person. It's like, catch a hint, mate. Come on.
That's because he doesn't watch TV.
Oh, it's because he's from the outback, mate.
He has those 5G towers melting his brains. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Crocodile was like kind of an asshole, like in the fact that like, it's kind of like a weird vibe because at the start of the film, like they imply that he's like putting it on and faking it. Like,
yeah, see, that's another thing that was weird. Like, he's the crocodile hunter, but what's his name? Mr. Walter, the dude with the like really tall socks at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's going on about these exaggerated stories of Crocodile Dundee, like tackling these crocodiles and like surviving in the wilderness and
losing his leg and all that.
Yeah, but it was over exaggerated. But yet later on in the movie, when the woman gets attacked by a crocodile, he actually just like stabs it in the head, like murders this crocodile. And it's like, well, are those stories exaggerated or is it true? Like,
yeah, and then there's that, and then like the fact that like he actually was out there poaching them, like he had like the gun shells, like he wasn't there for fishing, he was there to like skin them and stuff. Like it's implied, so like he's committing crimes and breaking the law, and I don't know, man, just.
But then he has something against roo hunting because then he purposely just like shoos away those kangaroo hunters in that one scene with that gun.
That scene, like I really want to talk about that. Like that was easily my favorite bit in the movie
that was a
because so all these bogers are just out shooting these kangaroos, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is horrible! Like, oh, they're killing them," and he's like, "Oh, it's just what they do." And Crocodile Dundee can like easily tell that she doesn't like this, so he just goes out into the bushes and pulls out this random stuffed kangaroo, and this random stuffed kangaroo starts shooting at these bogans, and the bogans are like, "Oh my god, that kangaroo's got a gun! We're gonna go!" It was so dumb. It was so stupid. It made zero sense. Where did he get this stuffed kangaroo from?
No, it wasn't a stuffed kangaroo. It was one of the ones they just killed.
No, but the head of the kangaroo was like up straight. It was a straight up stuffed kangaroo.
Maybe he's.
And the bogans were like, "Oh, it's firing back. The kangaroo is shooting at us. We gotta get out of here."
Because they were drunk.
They were drunk.
Oh, I think they were on something as well.
A kangaroo with a gun, you'd be like, "Holy shit!"
It's the funniest bit in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Nah, that was a good scene.
Yeah,
that was a good scene. It didn't make much sense, but it made me laugh. So
yeah.
I just thought it was hilarious how the bogans actually thought the kangaroo was legitimately shooting at him, and they all just shot it.
Good scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we can all agree that like it's kind of like a weird conflict about whether or not Crocodile himself is like a good person, but like it's kind of just like shrugged off by the halfway point. Like by the time they're in New York, like he's like he actually is like this crazy talented dude who can like throw a tin can to the side of the street and hit some guy in the back of the head. Like
that's right.
Yeah, like that kind of skill is like that tells me that they're not lying. I don't know, man. Just yeah. It was just a weird vibe. Like I was expecting like a lie reveal kind of scene where she's like, "Oh my god, he's actually not this amazing man, but do I still love him?" And then she does love him because he has a heart of gold. Like that's what I wanted out of this movie. But this is what it is.
I mean, I guess that lie reveal kind of happens at the start, and I guess that's to set up like this premise that this is a human being, this is a real man.
Yeah.
He's vulnerable. He's not like this sort of legend, like outback champion that to write about in papers and kind of like he's a human being, and she's gonna fall at his feet.
How did the go on?
I'm sorry, like that's an interesting theme about like the way that like journalism and the media like distorts images of people and how makes people godlike. But then like it's like I said, it's something that's like kind of dropped by the halfway point in favor of a romance, which is kind of like poorly done.
They basically just give him all the like powers that have exaggerated in the first place and start like
when is Crocodile Dundee joining the Avengers?
We need more like Australian representation in the MCU. Like name an Australian character, there isn't it?
I mean, you got Thor, but that's just the actor.
Oh, that's the actor, man.
But yeah, like the romance, I didn't buy it. I didn't like most. I didn't like most of the characters. Like
I mean, it's easily the weakest part of the film. I agree. Just the whole plot. Like, I mean, I mainly just enjoyed it for the gags, and like I feel like the gags were enough to sustain my interest. Like all the characters, they're all like shitty and all very one dimensional. Like Richard's character is just a dick. Like, there's nothing else to him. He's just a rich, spoiled, like, dick.
Yeah, but he didn't deserve to be lied to by this woman. He gave her his heart in his hand. And and at dinner, he had too many drinks because he wanted a good time with his girl, and she brings some yahoo that he doesn't know. So no wonder he's having a bad time, and he thinks it's funny that this guy can't read French. It is funny. Oh, no, Italian. You know what? And then he punches him in the middle of the restaurant, and no one cares.
That's funny.
He knocks him out in a single hit. And then she goes, "Oh, Sue, you knocked me out." And then, like, she goes, "Shut up, Richard."
Yeah, and then he takes him back to his apartment and offers to help him back up the stairs.
Yeah,
funny gentleman. Yeah, what a nice guy.
Did anyone else notice other than me? I mean, I guess it's just me clutching at straws because it's like we got rid of the music component of this
Oh yeah, sorry about
this podcast. But the soundtrack was actually bomb.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The opening theme with the guitars and like the melodies, like do 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 do.
Yeah.
I'm still
almost electronic.
To that. Yeah. Like it's cool, like combination of like, you know, like the indigenous kind of like didgeridoo would clack in, and you have this like acoustic guitar. I don't know, man. The soundtrack was surprisingly good, and you had some 80s bangers in the LA scenes as well.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Yes. It was cool that they use Aussie bands and stuff. Like it's like very unrealistic that, you know, in this like random LA like high class party you'd be listening to In Excess and and like Mental as Anything, but you know. Go figure. Maybe they took into consideration Crocodile Dundee's like presence and like, you know, we're gonna play some Australian 80s bangers.
Yeah.
Okay, so the music was pretty cool. That was one of the things I liked. Another thing I did like was the character of Donk.
Who is that again?
Who's that?
You don't remember Donk? The best character in the movie by far.
Is that the bully dude?
That's the guy who was at the bar at the start who couldn't drop his beer and
His name.
Yeah, like what a real one. We need more Donks in the world. But yeah,
very talented.
That's a good talent. Yeah.
But then like that it takes the kiss of a man to weaken him enough to drop it, which is a bit which is what it is. Fair enough. But what isn't fair enough really is like that one scene. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. It's very very 80s comedy where he grabs the trans woman's genitals in the middle of the bar.
That happened twice.
Yeah.
And there were two different trans people.
Well, I think the second time it wasn't a trans woman. It was just a cis woman, and he thought that she was a trans woman because she looked masculine, which is a little bit problematic in itself. But like it's you could say it's the 80s, it's in the past, but like, you know, like movies like Animal House and that kind of stuff, like, you know, they got away with like messed up stuff, like, you know, it's not uncommon for 80s comedy especially to do some messed up things, but like I don't even see like what the joke is, like, because it's just so mean spirited. Like she runs off crying, and then everyone laughs and claps. Like, like if it was the trans woman got grabbed and like she laughed, maybe then it'd be a little bit funny because then they're all in on the joke. But like in this case, it's just this woman's being assaulted, and then she runs off crying, and that's the whole joke.
That's the whole joke. It's like, haha, she has penis.
But yeah, is what it is.
It is what it is. Like, I don't know. I feel like unfortunately that was kind of like a common sort of just gag, like dude dressed up like a lady.
Like you can't get away with it now. That's for sure.
Like, definitely not.
Yeah,
you can't get away with
something that like happened a lot in the 80s. That sort of comedy.
Yeah,
but I also guess it shows, like, you know, especially like someone like Dundee, who grew up in the outback, he probably just did not have a concept of that in his head, you know, like,
of course not. No.
So it's like, it's not like as if it was an unrealistic portrayal of what he would have done in the situation as his character circumstance. But the thing is, it's played for a laugh, and that's kind of like And the fact that the trans person isn't in on the joke, like if she had laughed with it, then it maybe be alright. But exactly.
But yeah, I did like like you mentioned the outback, just like the way I mentioned it earlier, like the way like the landscape is treated with such like respect and reverence. Like the first shot that we see of the outback is like with like that big white shot with the helicopter coming in. Like it's so ominous and like powerful. Like even in a comedy film, it's still like hard to show this landscape without it being like so overwhelming. And I don't know, like I think that's like the greatest value in this film, like in a historical context. But like in its context when it came out, was like showing this part of Australia like to a wider world, because this film was the one I believe like that kicked off, or if it didn't kick off, it like popularized that whole Australia
definitely.
wave of the 80s, where like everyone in America and the UK and Europe like loved Australia and koala bears and all that kind of stuff.
It boosted tourism like exponentially. Like I think Paul Hogan got like I don't know if it was knighted or he got some sort of like he got some sort of like award, like honors for tourism for Australia. Wait, I'll look this up.
Yeah, like it does a really good job of like making like Australia seem like such an exotic place, which is, you know, like that's pretty cool. Like they put a lot more effort into it than I thought they would have for an 80s comedy. Is what I'm saying. Like they could have just used like sets and like places like close to cities, but like it's clearly like they went like out to the middle of nowhere for some of these scenes that seem respectable.
So to clarify,
wasn't a lot of the movie just like actually shot in Australia, like even the New York scenes?
Oh, were they?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure so. I'm pretty sure they were, because a lot of the production was here in Australia. Because there's actually a documentary, or not a documentary, but there's like a short series on Paul Hogan's wife. Is that his name?
Okay.
Yeah, that's his name. And I don't know who acts as him, but I watched it a while ago. But a lot of the movie is actually just shot in Australia, including the New York scenes.
Oh, okay, that's
it would have
interesting.
been a lot easier and like less time consuming and less
and a lot cheaper.
Yeah, a lot cheaper.
Like very few films are actually shot in New York, like ever.
Yeah, apparently the budget for this movie was like really, really low, and it just kept going like over budget, and eventually they thought, well, if this movie bombs, then we're going to go bankrupt, you know, everyone involved in it. But the movie was a massive success in Australia and in the States.
Yeah, on a $9 million budget, it made like $330 million gross, which like that's crazy.
Yeah, but the original budget was nowhere near 9 million. It was like more like $1 million.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was really low.
That's crazy. Like,
but yeah.
But Paul Hogan has an interesting life though. Like he's been avoiding tax and all this sort of stuff. He has a lot of scandals under his belt. But
does he really? Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm not informed enough. You guys are coming up with the documentaries and the tax scandals. Oh.
Yeah, no. Apparently he actually married the actress. He was married for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think in the second movie he's actually married to her, like in real life.
Like just like by the interesting.
By the second one.
Yeah, but because like they filmed the first one and then by the second one they were married. And also to clarify my previous thing, he was appointed a member of the Order of Australia for service to tourism and entertainment. So the movie must have been such a like catalyst for all the you know. I guess that was the sort of way of the mid '80s.
At the Super Bowl, what was it, like last year or the year before? They did an Australian tourism ad, and the ad was legit just a new like Crocodile Dundee trailer with Chris Hemsworth was in it. There's a whole bunch of other Australian actors in it, and all it was a trailer for a Crocodile Dundee movie that doesn't even exist.
No, isn't it coming out this year?
No, it's the movie doesn't exist.
The very excellent Mr. Dundee, that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
When did this come out?
I didn't think it was actually a thing.
No,
I thought it was.
Wait, hold on. Let me do this.
I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's just a tourism ad.
The very excellent Mr. Dundee. No, it's a real film.
Really? No, that's the third one, isn't it? That's the third movie with
No, the fourth one's called like Crocodile Dundee in LA or something.
No, that's the third one.
No, that's the third one.
That's what I said.
Wait, hold up.
You have Crocodile Dundee, Crocodile Dundee 2, and then Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's what I said. And the fourth one is called The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee. That's coming out this year, apparently.
Really? I did not know that.
Well, Scott, I don't know. Maybe it's fake, but it looks pretty real to me.
Well, I know for a fact the trailer that came out in the Super Bowl was just a tourism ad, but the ad was made to look like a new Crocodile Dundee movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's weird.
Danny McBride is supposed to be playing his son?
Yeah, then
Oh, no, that's solid.
That is actually solid, yeah.
One last thing I'd like to mention, like that I was really impressed by the film though, because like we can brag on it for the like the old-fashioned ideas towards sexuality that like might be a bit uncomfortable, but I was really impressed by the representation of Indigenous people.
I was gonna ask about
that. I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, because like I was like. For like the first half hour, I was like, he's talking about like, oh, the tribes. I grew up with a tribe of black fellas. Like, okay. I was like, yeah, maybe. What's the 80s is what it is. But then like, and then there's a scene where she's where Sue is like out in the wilderness and she like and an indigenous man approaches her and she's freaking out. I'm like, oh no. But then he's just some guy. He's like his name's Nigel and he just like chills in the outback and he's wearing jeans and he's only going to corroboree to the tribe dances because his dad wants him to. Like I think that was like really interesting, like and forward thinking for the 80s to like to show like indigenous people like just being people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was pretty surprised by that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, is there anything else that you guys like to mention that you particularly were impressed by the film?
I thought there was a line in the film when Crocodile Dundee was getting practically bashed up by these random people in the alleyway, and the guy that was just about to like hit him in the face when he was on the floor until the driver came around, like he said to Crocodile Dundee, he goes, "Time for a little tap dance," and it was the funniest thing because it makes no sense. This dude has pinned him down on the floor, is about to absolutely knock him in the face, and he goes, "Time for a little tap dance." I just thought that was worth talking about.
He is like, I mean, you said Chris Hemsworth is in that new trailer, right? I mean, that gives even further like sort of proof that maybe he is like an Avenger or something.
Oh, true.
Maybe he's behind the scenes dude, like that tap dance maneuver. Pulling up to Thanos, the tap dance maneuver.
Oh, because Thanos has got no moves.
Yeah, no, that was a funny scene. I don't know. I also one kind of line because like you sort of mentioned like one line that stuck out. A line that stuck out to me was the way that Crocodile Dundee explains like land rights, and it was a really interesting line where he was basically just said, "Oh, well, none of us own the land. It's like fleas arguing over who owns the dog that they're on." And I'm like, damn,
real shit.
But I mean,
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Like it's a really dismissive way of looking at history, but like
exactly,
it's poetic, but
it's poetic, but it's a bit reductionist because it's just like, oh, kind of terrenalis, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is what it is. Get over it.
I also thought another thing in the movie that was just really stupid was so the crocodile attack just happened where like the crocodile came out, got a bag and was pulling her into the water, and then Crocodile Dundee comes out of nowhere and like stabs it right in the head. And then about I think 5 minutes later in the film, you see them both swimming, and like I was like, no, she just got attacked by a crocodile. Like the scene before this.
He clarifies that it's fresh water and there's no crocs in it.
Yeah. But still, either way, like I know if I got attacked by a crocodile, I wouldn't go swimming in a fucking
Cool. So like one last final thing. I don't know, like the only like real memory, like the biggest memory I'd have of this film before watching it was the Simpsons like references.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, like have you guys seen the Australian episode of The Simpsons?
I haven't actually. I know about the like Dollary Days.
There's that, and then there's where you know what? Don't worry, I'm gonna cut this bit out actually.
Oh.
You guys haven't seen it. Nah, so there's one particular joke I want to minute, bro. So that's cool. But yeah, okay. Are we cool to wrap things up?
Yeah, sure. I feel like
okay. All right, cool. So that's Crocodile Dundee. So it's an important part of Australian film history, and we all enjoyed it to varying degrees. I thought it was just okay, but you guys seem to quite like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was a solid film. Like, I mean, I enjoyed myself. I feel like that's the most I could ask for from a mid-80s comedy film.
All right. Well, does anyone have any thoughts for next episode's film?
well, we could always, if we want to stick on the Crocodile.
We could do Crocodile Dundee 2.
We could do Crocodile Dundee 2, or we could do the Crocodile Hunter movie.
Oh.
Yeah, because I know that movie is like really bad, but it's just so good because.
Okay, yeah, we'll do the Crocodile Hunter movie because I used to love that when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen it in ages.
And you haven't seen it, Leon?
No.
Oh, okay. It's not remotely at all what you expect it to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So tune in next episode for a riveting discussion on Crocodile Hunter, starring Steve Irwin.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.